Tēnā tātou. Ko ngongo taha tōku maunga. Ko Rotorua nui a kahumata momoe tōku moana. Ko te papai uru te marae. Ko tamate kapua tōku tūpuna whare e tū ana ki ohana motu. Ko te kiripaiahi waremu tōku tīpuna. Ko te kiripaiahi waremu tōku hapu. Nō reira, tēnā tātou. My name is Rawiri Te Kiripaiahi Te Kōwhai. My tamariki and I, we are Wiri Wellbeing. And we are traditional Maori healers here in Rotorua. And I have been practicing for about 30 years. And also we have a business called Wiri Tours. The very first thing I just want to set things straight is that I am not anti-vax and I am not an ex-gang member and a wannabe counsellor. A year ago I got mandated out of my job. I was working with doctors and nurses over in Te Puke at Ngā Kākono Foundation. I also whakapapa to the 6 koro matu o Ngāti Whakaiwi. Ko Hurunga Tarangi, ko Te Roro Tarangi, ko Tunoho Pū, ko Pūkaki, ko Tai o Tū, ko Rangi Iwaho. I would be happy if I got into council so I could work as a bridge between the two cultures. I believe in democracy, one person, one vote. My main reason for putting my name in the hat or in the kite is because of the pressing issues that are facing our town of Rotorua at the moment. I am tangata whenua, people of the land. I did oppose the government wanting motels here in Rotorua for emergency housing for 5 years. I have 3 things that Wiri Wellbeing would like to pursue if we get into council. Number 1, we need a mental health unit for our teenagers and support for families here in Rotorua. Rotorua has the highest teenager suicide. Number 2, help get everyone out of the motels. We have seen there is no money in healing people, but there's plenty of money in keeping people dependent on MSD and in the motels. I am disappointed in some of my leaders. They haven't done nothing around this issue. And what I have found, there is no money in healing, but there's plenty of money in keeping our people dependent in the motels. Number 3, one of the solutions for Wiri Wellbeing is that we are looking at building a hauora up the back of Mamaku. The name of the hauora is going to be called Ko Te Pū o Te Ao. It will be run for 12 months and it will be an education program, not a rehabilitation program. And also what we need is we need the commitment from Rotorua, from the community of Rotorua to get behind us. Rotorua needs deep changes and I'm going in with a team of other people from the Rotorua ratepayers, RDRR, and we are a team that can fix the council and that can fix Rotorua. And just to answer the 2 questions around the Te Arawa Vision 2050, Wiri Wellbeing's vision for Te Arawa is not the same as Te Tau or Te Arawa. Wiri Wellbeing is more around health and wellbeing of the people. After 2 years of lockdown, it has just shown how dysfunctional things have become. So RDRR, Rotorua's ratepayers, we are coming in as a team to make a change. And we are only a team of diverse minds. And yeah, that's basically me. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Ko merupeka rau kaua teit, aho, no te waka o te aroa. Tēnā koutou katoa. It's nice to be with you today, to have the opportunity to talk to you about a significant event that's coming up on the 8th of October. And that's about our local body elections. I've been a councillor now since, in Rotorua, a Rotorua Lakes councillor, since 2011. I have to tell you, it took me 3 goes to become a councillor, but I always believed that I had something to contribute. And so I went again. Each 3 years when it came around, I tried again. And I was finally successful in 2011. And I've loved it. I've absolutely loved the opportunity to serve Rotorua. It hasn't been easy. We've had some significant issues to deal with. And the other thing too, you're working with people that in the past you've never worked with before. So, and every 3 years that can change because new councillors are elected. And so that's what we're looking forward to this October. You have to decide who you would like to have as a councillor for the next 3 years. And we do have some significant issues coming up. I mean, who would have thought that in 2020, not only Rotorua, this country and the world we would be embroiled in COVID. And the impacts that has had on New Zealand, on the New Zealand economy, on Rotorua, on the Rotorua economy, on our whānau, it's been significant. It's been significant. Many people have lost their jobs, many people have lost hours, some businesses have gone to the wall. All of these things have impacted on the city of Rotorua, and we know that. And as council, we've had to do a rethink, a reset as well. And so that has impacted on you. If you want to know what we do at council, then I would say have a look, the work of council, have a look at the pre-election report. Now this is not a councillor's report, this is done, it's actually a requirement by law, and this is done by our chief executive. And it really details all of the work that is involved in council. Significant projects, and you know, thank goodness we're coming to, later this year, we will be opening the Sir Howard Morrison Event Centre. That's been a long time coming. The lakefront, the redevelopment of the lakefront, that's really quite stunning. You're going to love that when you go down there with your children this summer. And you know, a lot of people didn't want those projects done, but we have to listen to our young families as well. They want something to remember. And so the lakefront will be, I think it'll be a primary meeting place for our families this coming summer. The museum, that's still a couple of years off for completion, but we have to make sure that the people who go to our museum are safe, but so too the taonga, our taonga, Te Arawa's taonga, that are stored in the museum. But look, there's something here that does not make for good reading, and that is the state of poverty in Rotorua. Many of our families are doing it tough. They're living in Struggle Street. They've lived in Struggle Street prior to COVID, but COVID has made it more difficult. And I want to see us as a council have some empathy for those families. Nobody's poor by choice. Nobody wants to live in poverty by choice. And I can tell you, nobody wants to be homeless by choice as well. So that's very difficult, and we have to do something about that. My timer has just disappeared from the screen, so I presume everything's still okay. I've got a blank screen there. Do you know that? It's all blank. I keep going? Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't have a timer, so actually no, I should be able to look at the timer. I'm sorry, it's a blank screen. I'm sorry. The screen went blank. So the timer was very helpful. Okay, all right, so I'm still online. Okay, so and what it shows here is that you know, the state of well-being for many of our whānau, that is really quite sad, and we have to do something about that as a council. And I think we can. I think we can accept that we have got challenges with our housing, and we must do something in that regard as well. Also safety. Safety is a big issue for our whānau, and so everybody wants to be able to move around the city and be safe. So what are we going to do? We need to clearly understand that not everybody in Rotorua has the luxury of living in their own home. So as a council, we must do what we can to make sure that we have equal opportunity for everybody, and look to the areas where we can support families into getting decent homes, that we can work with government agencies to make sure that those government agencies are doing what they paid for and being successful to house our families and make sure that they live a quality life that they're certainly entitled to as well. So Merepeka shows up. I've been doing that for the last 11 years. I certainly speak up. You'll be left in no doubt about what my opinions are, and I base them on fact. And the other thing, of course, is that I will not be bullied. I don't believe in bullying. I think if people want to bully you, then if they think they've got you, then they'll try again. So if you believe I can continue to do the job for you, you will vote accordingly. If you think, thank you, Merepeka, but no thank you, katapai, I can live with that. But I really do want you to get out there and vote. It's really important that we have our say. Kia ora. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. Thank you for listening.
Kia ora koutou, ko Kaya Spark tuku ingoa. So I was born out in the beautiful Ngutaha and grew up here in Rotorua, going to Ngutaha Primary School, Kaitau Intermediate, and then Rotorua Girls High. In 2013, I gained early entrance into Mercier University in Wellington, so I made the move down there to study a Bachelor of Communication, which was awesome. But after my studies and also some time living overseas, I was really drawn back to my home, partly because I really missed my whānau, but also because I had this dream of opening my own business here in my beautiful hometown of Rotorua, and I'm actually lucky enough to be doing that right now. So I made the decision to run for council again this year because I really think that it's important that we not only have a variety of voices at the table, but also that we have fresh perspective there. So we're not just getting the same people making the same decisions over and over again. My top priorities this term are transparency, community and environment. And I really think that we need a team that's going to work together to have solution-driven focus on council, and I think that's going to be really important this time around because we're seeing struggles that we haven't seen before in a sort of post-pandemic world, and we're also seeing some of the things that were happening before that really come to light. So yeah, it's really important to vote this year, and I'm hoping that I'll have the support of the Rotorua community. Linking it back to my experience in business, I think that comes to the question around the importance of Maori-owned businesses to Rotorua. So as a Maori business owner myself, I think I'm probably a little bit biased, but I think it is of great importance to the growth of Rotorua to have Maori-owned businesses here. And it's also a great example of the concept of for us, by us, and it's awesome to see that in action. I actually attended my first hui with Pākehā Ora a couple of weeks ago, and it was so cool to be able to connect with other business owners here in Rotorua who are doing amazing things, working really hard for our community, and so that was really great for me to be able to talk with other people who just totally understand what's going on within the business community at the moment. So yeah, definitely something that needs council's support, even though it's actually thriving on its own. So 100% agree that the importance of Māori-owned businesses in Rotorua is huge. Coming back to also the 2050, the Te Arawa 2050 vision and how that can be integrated into council's long-term plan. And so I think that is really important because we have to honour te tiriti, and a part of that is co-governance and partnership. And so integrating that plan within the council's plan is basic, and we definitely need to do it. I think it would be excellent for Māori and Pākehā alike and everyone within the Rotorua community to see that happen. So yeah, 100% for that. I really want to see Rotorua become a safe and thriving place once more. We have, you know, a lot of issues going on, but that doesn't mean that we can't address those and work towards getting back to an amazing place, an amazing city like we have been in past years. So yeah, I would just love your support this election, and just also reminding everyone that local body elections have a really low voter turnout, so it's really important that we remind our friends and whānau to vote and to enrol. So you can do that by contacting our electoral officer and also by heading into council actually to do that. So yeah, just making sure that everybody reminds the people that they love that it's important to have your say in democracy. So yeah, kia ora, and yeah, put the spark back in Rotorua Lakes Council this election. Ngā mihi.
ena mana, ena rio, ena ranga tēnā mā, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, ko Steve Pinder, taka wingwā. I'm delighted to be here this morning to have the chance to talk to you more about my role for council. So let's start with the most important in my life so you understand a bit more about me. That's my wife Colleen. She's from Tūharangi, Ngāti Wāhia, born and raised here on Cider Street, and we're blessed to have 2 children, Zachary Tamanaki, our eldest son, and Darcy Romary, our daughter. I was actually raised in Canterbury, in Kent, and life was quite normal until 1990, when in a pub in London, Colleen swept me off my feet, and life was never quite the same. We actually got married back here in Rotorua in 1992 at the Maori Rose Gardens. So it's our 30th wedding anniversary this year, which is quite exciting, and it's been a wonderful journey. When we started then in 2004, we wanted to move back to Rotorua. We thought it was a better place to bring up our children and raise them, and that's proved to be the case. So we've actually been living here in Rotorua since 2004. A bit of background on my career so you understand my thinking and why I might be an excellent choice, if I may say, for council. I spent 37 years in commercial banking, 20 years with the NatWest RBS in England, and then 17 years here with Westpac in Rotorua. My career is very relevant to what as councillor. I have a strong understanding of balance sheets, how a business runs, the levers you need to pull to make it successful. And in terms of my corporate finance background and my regional balance sheet when I was looking after the north of Ireland, I'm used to dealing with numbers in the hundreds of millions. So the scale of the numbers in the council is not something that daunts me. I've also been very fortunate to manage and lead my teams both here in the UK and NZ, some of them remotely, but always successfully. And I think the key with leading is communication, setting the context, clarifying what's needed, seeing you sort out what the barriers are to success, and then celebrating that success, okay? But also showing them all the time that you care about them. And I think that's important. And again, that will be needed and successful as a councillor. Largely in regard to my desire to run for council, a large corporate like a bank is riddled with loads of departments and loads of regulations. And it's really important you can communicate your ideas at different levels. So the ability to work collaboratively with people to agree with a solution is going to be key. And with 11 people on council, you need to be able to work with people collectively and collaboratively to get to a agreed solution. And I think again, that's something where I will be a strength. Obviously I'm biased, but I believe all those things are true. Now on to the Tiara 2050 vision. I did like the our vision carries our past into our future. And it's clearly an impressive document with visions and values and plans. And I think in many ways it does align with the council plans and aspirations and a long-term plan. With our deep connection to the whenua and the people, perhaps something we could build in a bit more. The one thing I actually was really excited about and surprised me a bit was around my understanding around the spread of the 50 marae across the rohi. And I think that's a huge opportunity that could be leveraged by the council in terms of the long-term plan for a deeper connection with the people. I see them as potentially 50 business education hubs where you could use them to gain feedback for council plans, gather more information, and inspire and educate and train, in particular our younger community. And I think that's something how we could successfully work together going forward. With regard to Maori-owned business in the community, my banking background suggests to me that the numbers are the numbers, and regardless of who runs the business, you need to get them right. I guess the difference at the top end is the huge asset base Maori have got to leverage for their business success. And I guess with smaller Maori-owned businesses, I think that link to the land and sustainability is something that differentiates them. And in terms of making them more stickable in terms of staying in Rotorua and building for the future and their success plans as well. The reality though is in many businesses, the numbers have to work first. And if they don't work, the business won't work. I guess the difference might be there's some unique aspects of Maoridom, as I said, around sustainability, working with the people and staying in the rohi longer makes them slightly different. I do hope that you have a great weekend despite the weather. And I believe my contact details are available. And if you want to follow up and ask me more questions on Facebook or you have my phone number, direct message me. I'd love to talk to you more about why I think you should vote Steve Pinder for Rotorua Lakes Council, because I think my capability and my character makes me the ideal choice for a successful future of Rotorua. Ngā mihi.
Tēnā tātou, ko Lani ke reo pa tōku ingoa, ki te taha o tōku kuia a moana rika no Ngāti Whakaue me Ngāti Whāua, ki te taha o tōku koraua a Ihaia ke reo pa no Ngāti Tarawhai, Ngāti Hinamihi me Ngāti Wāhiao. First question I've been asked to answer, why am I standing? I'm standing because I love Rotorua. I've got whakapapa to Te Arawa Hapu mai maketu ki Tongariro. Ohana Mutu Pā is my tūranga waiwai, and I feel a strong sense of responsibility to our kaitiakitanga obligations as mana whenua to restore and enhance our natural environment and indigenous ecosystems. And I feel an even stronger sense of responsibility as a māma and a kuia to restore and protect the whakapapa birthright of our tamariki a mokopuna. I made the decision to stand for RLC strictly because of the introduction of the Māori ward seats, which I believe provide a long overdue opportunity for mana whenua to engage in local council freely as mana whenua. I believe the interests of non-Māori are already strictly well represented by councillors, both Māori and non-Māori, who sit in the general seats. And I'm standing in the Māori ward because I want to represent the interests of mana whenua and mātāwaka specifically to aid in addressing the widespread inequality and inequity apparent within our local Māori communities. I've absolutely zero political career aspirations, and the trigger for me to stand in the Māori ward was the current work of council to rezone Rotorua for housing intensification. While we do need more homes, I can see clearly that if the process is not co-developed, co-managed and co-implemented with iwi, housing intensification will be the third and final wave in the destruction of our hapu papakainga communities, such as Te Koutu, Ngāpuna and Whakarewarewa, which are the backbone of our hapu and iwi. The first wave was the rezoning of our traditional pā communities surrounding our marae to residential low commercial. This allowed the tourism and accommodation sectors to buy up properties and displace our families surrounding our marae in order to profit off our Māori culture. Whitaker Road and the entrance to Waka Village are perfect examples of that. It's gotten worse over the past 30 years, where we now have food, retail and social services surrounding our marae throughout Rotorua, where our families should be living and raising our tamariki. Look at Apumoana Marae and Tārewa Road. The second wave was the rezoning of our iwi residential areas to industrial, so that the poisoning of lands, waters and taonga species by polluting industries and unsustainable council waste management systems such as dumps and water-based wastewater treatment could occur freely, with all associated impacts on environment, health and well-being aimed directly at the most vulnerable local communities, which are our Māori communities rendered voiceless. Ngāpuna is the most obvious example of this, and Tura Te Ngākau is another. The third wave will be intensification, where 50 low amenity apartments can be built where one or two of our papakainga homes once stood, and disconnected peoples from all around the country struggling with mental health issues, addictions and criminal records dumped on the doorsteps of our Te Arawa families and communities. I'm putting my hand up as an advocate for our voiceless whānau to try and help protect those things that we cherish, that have kept us strong and connected as Te Arawa, and that make us uniquely Māori. The second question, how do I see Te Arawa Vision 2050 being integrated within the RLC long-term plan? We need the appropriate expertise, resourcing and support to map the strategic objectives for 2050 across the long-term plan. This means identifying the systems changes needed, the actions required, the pathways that must be taken, timelines and deadlines set, and milestones expected along the way to ensure the vision is met. The same thing needs to happen with the Te Arawa climate change strategy to support our hapu and iwi to build resilience and adapt to all potential impacts of climate breakdown. Third question, how important are Māori-owned businesses to our communities? The establishment of locally owned circular enterprise and economies at marae, hapu and community level has been identified as a priority for Te Arawa within our climate change strategy. In this time of climate breakdown, we cannot continue with unsustainable systems where we rely on trucking our food into Rotorua from other places, buying our energy and everyday goods and services from profit-driven corporations with no vested interests in our communities. Locally grown, sourced, produced, made, shared, repaired, refurbished, reused, recycled and resold is the goal, and our Māori communities must play the leading role in that. Ngā mihi mahana, kia koutou katoa.
A more nei te iwi, I tino mi tēnei kia tātou kua whakarongo mai nei. Ko ruawahia te maunga, ko te awa o te atua te awa, ko te arawa te waka, ko Ngāti Rangitihi te iwi, ko rangi ao hia te marae, ko moko nui a rangi te tupuna, ko William Taipu Haturaka ahau. I'm married to Moana. We have a blended family of 7 children, adult children, 15 mokopuna and 2 mokopuna tuarua. I went to school at Otamaraka. We lived in Pikawai, and Mum was one of the teachers, and we got away with nothing. Also, after that, I went to Tipinekura in 73 to 76. After Kura, I went straight to work in 1977, where I worked for the Auckland Electric Power Board and became a trainee line mechanic. It's an industry that I've been in for 46 years now, close to 46 years, and it has served me well, and I'm still in the same industry at the moment as a trade coach or an industry trainer. It is a job that I'm very passionate with because we bring our rangatai through come out with a trade certificate, and also along the way we help them with life skills and other things that they may be going through in their lives. So we help them both with skills and also with life skills. I'm also a minister in the Hahi Mihingare here in Rotorua, Te Manawa Te Wheke, and I minister in the Mātātua and also Waiariki region here. We were given 2 questions. How do I see the Te Arawa Vision 2050 being integrated with the Rotorua Lakes Trust Council long term? Ko tēnei te whakatau a ki. He aha te mea nui o te ao, he tangata, he tangata, he tangata. Te iwi Maori are naturals at manaakitanga and people stuff. This is mentioned in the Te Arawa Vision 2050, and I agree with this. And this is one of the main reasons that I was endorsed by a very good friend of mine, James Aranui, from Ngāti Pāhauwera. He's also a trade coach there in Hastings, and a former work colleague of mine, and also running for General Ward, Grace Tuakana Jones. But I had a lot of influence from a lot of other people to run for council, as well as seeing only one candidate there during the evening before the closing. Our tourism is in a slide, has been in a slide for over 2 years, and there are numerous things that need to be done, and whoever the council is, new council is, there's a lot of work to be done for them. The importance of Maori-owned businesses in the community was the second question. There are many opportunities for Maori. I just want to take the time to talk about one company that's recently created by Maori people. It's CNI Power, so I have the okay from them to talk about them. But there are 5 people, 4 Maori, 1 Pākehā, that have all put in together and created their own contracting company in the power industry. And they're working very hard. All of them are skinny now, so I guess that they're either working hard or they're being stressed out. I hope it's hard work. But there's plenty of opportunity out there. You just need to plan, look for the places that where jobs can happen. There are many opportunities out there. Ones that the dock has to offer, and a whole lot of other things. One other thing I'd like to mention is that on Saturday next week at Taumarama Hall, which is next to St. Faith's, Grace Tuakana Jones and myself, we're running a meet and greet session over there. And I'm going to, my slogan is Whakapiri Rotorua, and I'll talk about the this carving called whakapiri that I met in 1984 and explain how that has an influence on my standing for council as well. I have a Facebook page launching on Monday, Whakapiri Rotorua 2022. He mihi tēnei ki a tātou ngā mihi tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.
Ai, tēnā tātou e te whānau, ko Kariana Black ahau, he uri ahau noko nei, engari I tipu ake au kei raro I ngā maunga o te uruwera. Ko hikurangi taku maunga, ko rangitai ki tōku awa, ko patu hiuhiu ngā te haka, ngā hapū, ko tamate hikurangi te marae, ko te hina, te tangata, hia ki tukupe tōku kuraua, Mike Jones tōku pāpā, ko Kariana Black, e tū mai nei. Yes, I was very rushed, received this this invitation to come and speak on here today, and I got it late last night, so I haven't had much time to prepare. But what I want to say first and foremost is that as a candidate for Te Aroa, for Rotorua, I am 100% behind Maori business and entrepreneur in the city and getting our economy going. And I thought it was appropriate when I read online about Te Aroa's whakatauki on there, it's Modi 2, Modi Order, and it just happened that I've brought my little pamphlet here, which means Back Black, Kariana Black for Together We Are Better, but one of my focuses there is community focused leadership, which I believe that is a strength of mine, and I've used the Modi Order, or wellbeing, as an acronym, order meaning life, for my key points that I stand for that I'll talk to soon. But what I was going to say is that back in 2020, or was it 21, we actually, as part of an Indigenous Alliance with Israel, and Dr. Sheree Trotter, who's from Te Aroa and Alfred Ngaro, we organised a hui between the ambassador of Israel to come into Te Aroa to share their business entrepreneurship with Te Aroa iwi and the leaders within Te Aroa. And it was a very successful occasion where Ambassador Rowan, that was his name, where he came and he spoke to all the those on governments and businesses in the area, came and just talked about what Israel actually has to offer Te Aroa in terms of very similar demographics and things that the natural resources and geothermal experience that Israel has to offer, and whether they could build a partnership there for with Te Aroa to help strengthen the economy here, to offer solutions for and use the geothermal in a way that's going to really feed into the people's economy here in Te Aroa. So I thought that would be a really positive note. But before I go off task and talk about that, actually, the ambassador, he actually gifted a olive tree as a koha of relationship between Te Aroa businesses and Te Aroa iwi and Israel, which is planted down by St. Faith's Church. We're going to unveil that on the 27th of this month. So I'm blessed to be here before you all and thankful for this opportunity. So, and we're still yet to develop and invite other entrepreneurs into that space from Te Aroa to build that business capability there. Ending with my three key focuses is order. So order is about ownership, and I've got here on here keeping Rotorua assets in Rotorua's hearts and hands, and this is about iwi as well. No to three waters and smarter housing solutions, and community safety is a priority. And I think Te Aroa are natural entrepreneurs. My late husband was Hawea Virko, who actually pushed for the Māori ward system, so I'm very much in support to that. So R stands for re-energise. Let's re-energise the economy and tourism and business. So Te Aroa will be a leading focus in that, the iwi, and accountability. So my third point is A stands for accountability, which is democracy and transparency, which I believe I will bring to this space here. Have open public meetings. I'm a mama, I'm a grandmother, a kuia, and I really love Rotorua. Rotorua has been my home as an educator for over 29 years. I love meeting with all types of people, and yeah, just looking forward to the next journey if you vote me as your candidate. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa.
Ko tarawera tōku maunga, ko te arawa te waka, ko Ngāti Rangatihi te iwi, ko Rowan Gray tōku ingoa. Tēnā koutou katoa, I'm Rowan Gray, and I might be a bit biased, but I reckon you should vote for me at this year's local body elections. It's time for level heads and sensible solutions to help make Rotorua the best it can be. For Rotorua, New Zealand, these are the best of times and the worst of times. We need to recognise the constraints and issues that people are facing, but we also need to act wisely for the betterment of all. We need to look for ways to grow our district's economy and deliver benefits for you, for all. You may know me from my years at Otonga Primary School, in Kuia Morrison's class at Rotorua Intermediate, or at Rokura. I went on to managerial positions in multinational hotel companies, working both here in New Zealand and offshore, and I've also worked in senior advisory positions within government. My work experience has given me a unique set of skills to understand the needs of business and also put government to work for you, the people. I was motivated to stand for election as I believe Rotorua is a great city with a great future, but if we don't have level-headed people making good decisions for the future, we might miss out on a great future for all. I want my son to grow up in a city where he has access to the same opportunities and better than I had. You've no doubt heard a lot of blame and finger pointing around town by people about who is responsible for the emergency housing situation we're currently facing. You know what, it's good and all to look for people to blame, but ultimately what we really need is to rise above petty politics and actually get together and get things done. It's time for level heads and sensible solutions to help make Rotorua the best it can be. My plan is simple. Let's invest in enabling infrastructure to build more homes, cut red tape, partner with developers, land developers and property experts to simply get more homes built. The best way to end the emergency housing situation is to ensure there's no need for it in the first place. And how do we do that? We build homes. Pretty simple, right? Friday's Daily Post had an article on one of my ideas about how we can build more homes and make sure there's houses for people in need. I'm going to put some updates on my Facebook, so you should check that out. That's facebook.com/Rowan Gray Rotorua. One of the things we were asked to do here today is to ask about, give our views on Te Arawa's 2050 vision, how that could be integrated with the long-term plan. Firstly, I just want to say thank you to Te Arawa for having the vision, the foresight to actually look so far into the future. Too often, especially in councils, it's 3 years that you're in for, and it seems like some decisions are made as to what's actually going to get you elected in 3 years' time instead of what's for the long-term good of our community. So Te Arawa, or Council, should take the Te Arawa vision as inspiration to develop long-term plans which enable Rotorua to be the best it can be. I've heard some people down Koutou Way refer to mokopuna decisions, and that's ensuring the decisions we make today are going to have long-term positive impacts for the benefit of our beautiful city. And how do we do this? We need to acknowledge the mana whenua of Te Arawa and actually work together for the better of all. We've also been asked to talk about the importance of Maori-owned business. And in my mind, it almost goes without saying. There's dignity in work, a decent day's work. Former Prime Minister Norm Kirk said, all Kiwis want is someone to love, somewhere to live, somewhere to work, and something to hope for. Owning your own business, being your own boss, contributing to your community through offering solutions and employment is of utmost importance in our community. But in order to do this, we need to be people that are actually here. So ensuring we're a safe place to be where people want to come is going to be what we need to actually allow those businesses to succeed in the first place. This is where council can make a difference with the right people at the table. We have many opportunities to grow tourism. We could look at providing greater support to council organisations to attract new events, new industries, and to play to our region's strength. For example, we have a massive forestry in Rotorua, and there's a lot of waste that comes with that. Scion, our local government research agency, has actually developed some ideas on how we can create biofuels from that wood waste. This is something that could attract millions of dollars of investment and create jobs for our people long to the future. Playing to our district strength is key. There's a few issues around town that people have been talking about. Number one is the latest one has been reserves. I think we simply need to listen to the communities. If communities are happy with some of the reserves to be turned into housing, we should do that. But for those that don't, we shouldn't. It's really simple. We've got 20 seconds to go. I'm Rowan Gray. I really would appreciate if you could vote for me at this year's local body election. It's time for level heads and sensible solutions to help make Rotorua the absolute best city it can be. Thank you for your time. Cheers.
Kia ora koutou, ko Nick Chater tōku ingoa. Firstly, thanks very much for this opportunity to speak on this format, really appreciate it, and thanks very much for those who are here and in that space of listening and seeing what I have to say. It's much appreciated. So as I said, my name's Nick Chater, born and raised in Rotorua, have lived 52 years here, old fella, and live out at Otara Marae with my lovely wife Kimi. My wife is really from the US, Hispanic and First Nation mix, and my children Tanaya and Ani Ruimata are actually one of the reasons, big reasons that I'm standing for council, looking for a positive future for those guys. So I guess, what do I bring? Why am I standing? Sort of those sort of things. So my background is I've had 30 odd years working in the youth and social service space, working in and around rangatahi, whānau engagement, and had, I don't know, probably 20 years at the Polytechs, Wairiki and Toyoho Mai, running adventure tourism and youth engagement programs. Own 2 businesses, Multi-Day Adventures and Mountain Bike Rotorua, and have worked with Te Wāriki Pūria Trust, whānau, Te Aro Whānau, youth social services, all those sort of things. Another thing that I've sort of have been doing for the last 6 years, I've been on the Lakes Community Board and currently the Deputy Chair of the Community Board, and that has given me 6 years of really valuable sort of knowledge around council and the things we have to be able to do, so good experience for me. Probably the most exciting thing on that I worked alongside was Te Maru o Kaituna River Authority, and that was representing the Lakes Council. And I guess what was really good about that, it was a Maori entity working alongside council entities to sort of bring the Maori back to the Kaituna River. So beautiful project, had some really good things come from that. So again, really enjoyed that. So why am I standing? I guess for me, Rotorua is I could live anywhere. I live here because I love it here, for my mental health, for all my recreation, for all those things. I think Rotorua is a beautiful place to live. But I reckon it's at crisis point for a couple of things, and those are things that are really close to my heart. So for me, that sits around the environment and putting the environment at the first, sort of when we start talking it, that change the narrative to putting it at our forefront of our thinking, and that's around climate change and what's going on, especially for our future generations. I think if we don't start now, down the line, everything, whether it's people or an economy, is going to struggle from it. So that's really key to me. Second, that's really important to me is an equity and our whānau that are working really, really, really hard and actually going backwards, and working in the social service world, seeing the strain that our whānau is under, and just working alongside people to sort of help that sort of improve those outcomes is really important to me. Finally, the economy, and I've put that last because I think sometimes we concentrate on having the economy at the forefront of our thinking. And yes, economy is important because you can't do anything without the money to do these projects around environment, etc. But let's change the narrative so it's a sustainable economy. And what do I mean by sustainable economy? It's around that idea that we actually understand what our town needs and puts those needs at the forefront of our thinking. So what do our people in this environment actually need? So I guess if I'm thinking about it, what has that got to do with the Te Aroa Vision 2050? Well, this aspirational document that I've read through, have a bit of an understanding of, it basically puts people at the front and it takes care of all people. So although it says Te Aroa, if the Te Aroa Vision aspirations are followed, it actually supports the whole of Rotorua. And if you look at it at its essence, it's about a healthy, thriving people and an environment. And all the issues that I've just outlined above, from all those sort of things, we can't do alone as a council. It has to be alongside and working with Te Aroa. And these are really complex problems that Te Aroa are actually a part of the solution. So one of the things that really drove that home for me was when we had the COVID response. I was working for Te Wāriki Pūria Trust, and I got to see firsthand working on the Te Aroa COVID response. How Te Aroa responded and what it did for all of its people in the area was just outstanding, was massive. So to be a part of that really showed me what the partnership and working with Te Aroa was all about. Finally, I think one of the questions is around Maori innovation and Maori business and why it's important. 100% it's important. 40% of our population are Maori, and when Maori are doing really well, the whole of the town does really, really well. So I've been lucky enough to be in around Maori business, and the innovation and the thinking that is quite different, that gives us our separation, gives us our identity, and something different to the rest of the country sits there. What I know about Maori innovation, Maori business is, yes, very, very good at thinking, very, very good at innovation, those sort of things, but at the forefront puts people and it puts relationships. And I believe 100% when you put people and relationships at the head of your business, then everybody does well. So I think we need to look towards Maori business and when they're going forward and sort of bringing what's new into our town. So again, thanks very much for the opportunity to talk. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you got a little understanding of who I am and what I do. Kia ora.
Kia ora tātou, kua hui mai nei tēnei rā, koutou e mātaki mai ana, e whakarongo mai ana hoki, he uri tēnei no tūhaurangi, no Ngāti Rangitihi, Ngāti Whakauwe o tira te aroa whānui, he ringa waka hoki ki Horauta, mā tātua Tainui me Ironside. I te tuatahi, he tuku mihi ki ngā mate o te wā, ngā tōtara kua hinga i te wā nui, hoki ki ngā whānau pani, tangi he o koutou tangi, haere atu rā, haere atu rā, haere atu rā. Hoki tātou te hunga ora, tātou kia tātou, ko te kaupapa ora ko tēnei. E mihi ana ki te reo wirirangi o te aroa, ki a Local Gecko Productions hoki, ngā ringa raupā e ao ai te kaupapa nei, te tuku kōrero kia koutou te hunga mātakitaki. Ko te kaupapa tuatahi, ko te mata kitenga o te aroa mō te tau 2050. He mea whakamiharo tēnei. Ka tahi i te mea he whakakotahitanga i ngā moemoeā, i ngā wawata o te aroa mō te aroa. Engari, ka rua he te aroa ake nei, tōna momo, tōna hanga. Ko tōna tuapapa, ko te ohaki a Humai Tawhiti. Mō ona hiahia, ona wawata, mō ona uri. Ko te kaupapa nei, te matakitenga nei, he whakatinanatanga i tērā o haki i naia nei, hoki angara anamata kei te heke mai. Ki au nei, mei kore te kaunihera e aro, e whakamahi, e whakamanara nei, i te matakitenga nei, tōna pōrangi hoki. The vision, Te Aroa 2050 vision is a cheat sheet, really, for how we can reinvigorate Rotorua, or reinvigorate our town, as well as it being a blueprint for how Rotorua Lakes Council can lead and set the example, set the standard for what co-governance or co-leadership with mana whenua can look like. And that ties into our second kaupapa for discussion today, which is the value that Maori businesses, the Maori business owners bring not only to Rotorua, not only to Aotearoa, engari huri no i te ao. I te mea, mei kore te ahurea Maori i konei Rotorua, kaoriti ia ki taone ke atu, huri no i Aotearoa i te ao rānei. What sets Rotorua apart from any other town in Aotearoa in the world is the Maori Te Aroa culture, and so investment into Maori businesses, whether that's financially or strengthening the network, is imperative not only to revitalise Rotorua, ne te whakahihiko i ngā ngākau, i ngā manawa o tātou e noho ana i konei, engari hoki kia kite rāwaho mā, ngā manuhiri, ngā tūruhi, i tō tātou taia, i tō tātou whakapono, ki o tātou ake taonga, ki o tātou ake āheinga, me tō rātou pirangi, tō rātou whāwhai ki te taimai ki konei, ki te kai, ki te rongo, ki te kia rongo ai rātou i ngā painga, i ngā hua o konei. Nō reira, ka tahi ai me matua aro ki te matakitenga o te aroa mō te aroa, i te mea he painga mō tātou katoa. Toko maha hoki ngā mātāwaka e noho ana ki te taone nei. Nō reira, koira te hiahia, koira te whakatau mana whenua, engari kei reira hoki ngā āheinga mō a tātou mātāwaka hoki, ka toru mō te hapori o Rotorua, mō ngā hapori rereke tauiwi mai nohea rānei. Ko tētai o tātou tino pukenga, ko te manaaki, ko te tauawhi i tātou manuhiri ki tō tātou rohe. Nō reira ahakoa kei Rotorua, kei ngā takiwā huri noa rānei, me tino aro tātou ki rā huatanga Māori ake nei, pērā ki te ohaki. So just like Humai Tawhiti's ode and his aspirations and his expectations of his uri, we should really lean into what we're best at. Ko tō tātou tuakiri tērā, so really leaning into our identity and Rotorua Lakes Council would be silly not to incorporate and integrate the Te Aroha 2050 vision into any decision making at all levels throughout the council as well. Engari, me mutu pe aku kōrero ki reira kei peke haere ki wiki wā, engari mehe mea he pātai anō, tēnā tukuna mai ki taku mōhio, ko hana for council i Paiahua, ko hana tapiata rāna i Pukamata, ka tukuna hoki taku i wera mā te terenga nei. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, kua whakarongo mai, kua mātaki mai, tēnā rā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Fisher Wang and I'm running for re-election for Rotorua Lakes Council on the General Ward. Firstly, I wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who supported me over the last 3 years. It's been an honour to serve as your councillor, and I've really appreciated meeting and building relationships with each and every one of you. A little bit about me. I'm born and bred on a farm in Kaharoa here in Rotorua from my parents who immigrated from Taiwan almost 30 years ago. I've also spent a few years studying in Taiwan in my teenage years. I've learned a great deal over the last 3 years as our district's youngest councillor and also as a first-term councillor, connecting with many people across our beautiful district, volunteering and serving on boards of many local organisations, and listening and making decisions for the future of Rotorua, especially through some very tough times for our district. My focus is to build a positive future for Rotorua together, and to stand for integrity for our community and for our future. My vision for Rotorua is one where we go above and beyond to build a strong economy, a sustainable city where we care for our environment, and a diverse city where young people, rangatahi, want to stay, work, play and establish their lives and futures here, all the way to a city where our elderly can retire safely and enjoyably. To get to this positive future, we need to work together, not just as a council, but as a community, so that we are able to make these mokopuna decisions and work together with our partners Te Tātou o Te Arawa on the Te Arawa Vision 2050. Throughout the past 3 years, I have worked hard as your representative out in our community. I bring my energy and enthusiasm into my role and hold this role with integrity. That means I don't take it for granted, and it also means that you may not always agree with how I vote, but I can assure you that with every decision that I make, I have and I will continue to take the time to listen and to carefully consider all views before I formalise my vote. Rotorua is often called the cultural capital of Aotearoa, New Zealand, which is why we need to be supporting Maori-owned businesses, so that we can show not just the country, but to the world, our beautiful culture and manaakitanga that Rotorua is so well known for. And to work alongside the Tiaki promise, so that when our visitors come and visit, they take only photos and leave only footprints, while they enjoy our beautiful environment, our culture and our people here in Rotorua. We have had a very tough few years as a community recovering from the effects of the pandemic, but Rotorua has great potential. We need to talk about the positives, the many positives here in Rotorua, not just for our visitors, but for our own people. That we are proud that we are from Rotorua, and that we are optimistic about our future, a future that I'm incredibly passionate about, which is why I worked hard to become a Resource Management Act Commissioner, to better understand the legislation and the rules around housing and development that could impact our community, and working on strategies to develop new housing and papakainga opportunities, a stable and resilient infrastructure network, and a plan for climate action, which includes an organic waste collection. I'm proud to have worked with many colleagues and sectors on the passing of the Rotorua Climate Action Plan, focusing on mitigating factors that contribute to climate change and also focusing on adapting our community to become more resilient to the effects of climate change. There is so much more work needed to do, and I plan to continue to work hard for our community to shape a positive future for our district. For a councillor that stands for integrity, that works hard for our community and for our future, vote Fisher Wang for Rotorua Lakes Council, and let's build a positive future for Rotorua together. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Robert Lee and I'm running for Rotorua Council in the General Ward. My mountain is Ngangataha, my stream is Utahina, my golf course is Springfield. I was the founding president of Saving Springfield. My parents arrived in New Zealand in 1960 on a waka called Rangitoto from London, England. You could say I'm tangata tiriti or Ngāti Pākehā. I'd like to acknowledge the passing of Queen Elizabeth II this week. She was the great-great-granddaughter of Queen Victoria, with whom the Treaty of Waitangi was arranged. I'd also like to acknowledge King Charles III, who came to the throne this week. He follows on from King Charles I and II, who are interesting characters. King Charles I was the last of the tyrant kings who believed his word was law and anything he said goes. Well, he was found guilty of treason and he was beheaded, and England was without a king for 11 years. So with that kind of history, you can expect King Charles III to be a little more reasonable. So democracy is, as Winston Churchill said, the worst form of government, except for all the others that have been tried. And in the last 9 years, there is a new form of government that's been tried in Rotorua, known as co-governance. We now have the benefit of hindsight to look around and see how well this has worked, and to see whether Churchill was right, whether democracy is a better form of government or co-governance or any other form. I would suggest if you take a walk down Fenton Street, or have a look in the newspaper, or have a look on TV, you'll find that Rotorua has got itself into a pickle. It's broken, it needs fixing. Our reputation as a tourist industry has been smashed. Rotorua was once known for its manaakitanga, and who wants to come to Rotorua these days? So this council has entered into a relationship with Te Tata Aotearoa in 2015, and some of the principles within that agreement, I believe, are inconsistent with the Local Government Act, and I don't believe would stand the scrutiny of the court. So when somebody gets elected to council, a mayor or a councillor, we have to make a declaration that we will act in the best interests of the whole district of Rotorua, not just in the best interests of part of the community of Rotorua. So I expect to be holding my fellow colleagues, councillors, to account if I get elected, that they will make decisions in the best interests of all of Rotorua, and they also have to act within the confines of the Local Government Act. So I'll be asking them to check carefully whether or not the Te Arawa Partnership Agreement does fulfil those obligations. I've been asked how I see the Te Arawa Vision 2050 being integrated into the Council's long-term plan. I've read the document, I've attended a presentation by Te Tato's chair, Te Taru White, and I noticed there's no mention of non-Maori in the vision. I asked Te Taro about it and he had no good explanation for that. I think it would be a stronger document if consideration was given to non-Maori. I've also been asked to comment on the importance of Maori-owned businesses. My family have owned a series of businesses in Rotorua since they arrived. I'm supportive of all businesses. I'm colourblind, so I have nothing in particular to say about Maori-owned businesses, except I have a real affinity for the tourism industry that used to bring in 850 million a year into Rotorua, and we need to get that industry sorted out because that's a key industry that's been broken by this council and needs fixing. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Shirley Trumper tōku ingoa. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. I've lived in Waikiri Valley since 1976, farming with my husband and been privileged to recently bring in our son in a equity partnership with ourselves. We milk 500 cows on in a sheep and beef operation. I've advocated for the rural ward, and with my experience as the past community board chair, delivering and understanding the rural diversity and governance roles, I believe I am the best person for the role. A change about 12 years ago, the electoral representation review went away from wards and went into at large. At that stage, rural representation was eliminated. I advocated for a rural ward. This is what is happening this term. Now, of course, what that has done is it has meant that you have to be on the general electoral roll to be able to vote for me, which is a change, and it is going to take some people a bit of time to get used to. Because of the involvement in the last 6 years with the 2 community boards in Te Tātou o Te Aroa and the committees of council, it's brought better policy decision making to the table. The transformational initiative that Rotorua Council has with strengthening the relationship with Te Aroa has brought about a robust and enduring relationship, and that's going to make a difference to all our decisions going forward. Positive relationships built on trust and respect with Te Aroa is critical to ensuring the range of mechanisms that Council has that uses in their decision making leads to robust but moreover enduring outcomes to benefit the wider district. This is aptly demonstrated with the first of its kind in New Zealand with a joint consent application with Ngāti Rangawawahi for the water take for the Te Puna a Pikihoa. Now that's Taniwha Springs. This is just to name just a few. The 3 waters across our district is all entwined by either sourced from, sourced on, or is spread across or transverses iwi land. Partnerships must be seen as a win-win for the district, whether that is through business investment or other mechanisms. Opportunities for mana whenua and all those who choose Rotorua to live, work and play will ultimately benefit from. Co-governance ensures parties directly affected by decisions have a say in those decisions. Te Aroa have every right to expect support to invest, to make lives better for iwi, for hapu, because with that investment comes success, and success builds better lives to deliver thriving outcomes for all. One where unity is defined by an economically thriving and healthy community. One where we all can be proud to say, I am from Rotorua. Mā whero, mā pako, ka oti ai te mahi, the task shall be achieved through unity. Kia ora.
Ka mihi, mihi ku te ronga rawa. E te atua, e ngā tupuna kei te mihi. E ngā mate ki ngā mate, haere, haere. E koroma, e kuima, tēnā koutou, e ngā whānau, e ngā hapu, kia hiwara, kia hiwara. Kia ora, my name is Potawa Biasini Tuli, cheer to all the cousins, cheer to mum and dad, wow! And this is my candidate kōrero for today. So in the past, many great leaders stood for seats in the Maori, in the Rotorua Lakes Council, and unfortunately the votes went against them. This year, we get 3 dedicated Maori seats out of 10. And so I'm here to ask for your support to get one of those Maori seats, and this is what I'm here to talk about. The first one is the Te Aroha Vision 2050. Now, first it's about good people. You know, good people were involved in the making of the Te Aroha Vision 2050. We had Auntie Mala Grant, Anaha Hini, we had Carla Kiriopa, Megan Lacey, Ju Pani and Jenny Reaney. It all started with trust, and Te Aroha really responded back in 2019 when our people were asked what our aspirations were. It's all about our culture, our origin stories. It's about our people, our hauora, it's about tamariki rangatahi, it's about housing. And I do want to mihi to all the people down Fenton Street and everyone trying their best. We'll be there soon, my cousins. It's about our place and our environment. It talks about our economy and innovation. The vision is all about unity and leadership. Now there's 43,000 Te Aroha out there and thousands over in Australia. Chatish, what's up in Sydney and Melbourne? But we need you to help us with this vision, because the vision was just a light to shine to the future for the next 20 years. But interestingly, we've got 18 lakes, we've got 65,000 hectares of land, we've got $874 million worth of wealth just in there, and we pay $3 million worth of rates. But are we getting value for money? I don't think so. Are we getting bang for the buck? I don't know. Like, where's all the housing for whānau? Where's our papakainga policy? Where's all our talks around climate change? Where's the adult parks? Where's support for Māora? And where's our manu pools at the aquatics? The council could have been doing more. But mostly I want to be talking about geeky stuff. So right now business is down. Business is tough. Rotorua is flat right now. So I would like to see Rotorua become a creative and innovative tech hub. You know, we have so many stories to tell. We have lots of unrealised potential. My wife Nicolasa and I, we developed Digital Natives Academy, and we helped Animation College and Media Design School come to Rotorua. That helped bring get Māori jobs in the tech sector, and also help upskill rangatahi. So why can't we bring new employment opportunities, like invite Air New Zealand to help do engineering down here at the airport with our rangatahi? Why can't we get Samsung, TradeMe, Microsoft to base here in Rotorua and create new jobs? Because I'd like to see 1,000 new jobs for Māori in the tech sector and creative sector over the next 3 years. I'd like to see that $50 million facility, because we've got all the TV whānau, we've got all the film whānau, live stream whānau, we'll give it up for get-go, whoa, whoa. But where's the facility? We need to have a $50 million facility right here in Rotorua so that we can become the base for creative and innovative tech. So that's just a little bit of me. I'm a geek at heart, you know, like the game, play a bit of Age of Empires and Bannerlord. Yeah. But so esports, why can't esports be based here in Rotorua? Why can't we have so much more investment? So, you know, those are a couple of things. I think business in Rotorua is flat, but with Māori in the lead, we can do so much more. So I see I only got like 40 seconds, so before I bust that whānau, Modi asked me to do this. This for you, Modi. Check, check. Tick, tock, this is how we rock. Gotta vote, final vote, just to show them what we got. Yo, tick, tock, this is how we rock. Gotta register to vote, it's about the Māori wards, bro. Tick, tock, this is how we rock. Gotta keep a little faith, cause the future is yours, bro. Tick, tock, beggars chuck it up. Tick, tock, you don't stop. Yeah. Tick tock, this is how we rock. I'm the same young cousin who came out of the block now. Underground's my style, to the side of bells, and I swear to the ground. I always rock the crowd. Peace to my area, a little more, yes I see ya. And if you want to jam, we care, the more the merrier. Now right off Tarawera, off the road of Tengai, of course Leslie Ave was my stomping ground. Say how I'm blessed because my you to give my heart. Now with that my heart, because your head was so hard. Now respect Tarawera FM here this morning. Thanks for inviting me, yo. Thanks for calling. Now I'm running to the top. I might be stopped because I'm jumping big gates that connecting the block. Now before making speeches, the road was my savior. Now I'm making moves to make a jam with your neighbor. Putawa out, vote, Putawa vote. And everyone else vote. Smoke.
Tēnā koe, ko meripeka rau kawa teitaho, nō te waka o te aroa. Well, it's that time of year again. Every 3 years, you and I have an opportunity to vote for who we'd like to see as our local body politician. And it's an important decision. I hear a lot of people say, oh, you know, it doesn't impact me, I'm not interested. Actually, you should be interested, because every decision that the Rotorua Lakes Council makes impacts on us, on you and I. It doesn't matter whether it's dog licensing, it doesn't matter whether it's the storm waters, whether it's picking up the rubbish, making sure that we've got good drinking water, our sports fields and our events centres. All of these things are part of the work of the Rotorua Lakes Council. It's big business, it really is. So you want to have, I believe that you want to have the people that you trust, know what the issues are that are important to you, and that will listen to you. They'll listen with a willingness to understand, and that they will make decisions for the betterment of all of Rotorua. Not just some people, not just the uptown folks that always think that they're more informed, they're more knowledgeable, and they're more entitled. They are not. You and I have an opportunity to vote for people who know about the issues that impact us as iwi, as Te Arawa. And it's important that you think like that, because not everybody is feeling kind towards Te Arawa's issues these days. I can tell you that. I've been a councillor here on the Rotorua Lakes Council for 11 years. It took me 3 goes to get on, but I always knew I had something to offer. I'd watched many of those people making decisions on our behalf, and I thought, no, I can do better than that. I can do better than them. And so after 3 attempts, after I got in on the 3rd attempt, and so I've loved it. I've really loved the job. You can impact, as a councillor, you can impact the decisions that are made for everybody in Rotorua. So I've loved the job. If you really want to know what's happening, have a look at this. It's available to everyone. You can see it online on the Lakes Council, on our website. You can go into the council and get a copy of the pre-election booklet. It really details all the mahi that the council does, what we do with your ratepayers' dollars. So go and have a look at that. But the one thing in there that I'm not happy with is the state of the well-being of many of our whānau. And it is not a good picture. Poverty has taken its hold on many of our people, and the wellness is something that we should think about and try to make sure that everybody is living to their potential in Rotorua. I can tell you another terrific document is Te Arawa's 2050 vision. That's a stunning document. This is about Te Arawa moving our whānau to a really place of excitement, where they will be healthy, where they will be in control of our own assets, in control of our own lives. So 2 very important documents. So what can I tell you about Meripeka? Well, I am standing again. I show up. I've been showing up for the last 11 years. I speak up. I'm unafraid. I think you get to a certain age when you think, oh, to hell with it. I want to have my say. But I do look at the facts. I do want to hear what everybody says. As I said before, not just the people who are used to getting their own way. So I want to hear from everybody about the issues that are important to them. So I certainly show up and I speak up. And the most important thing I think you should know is that I will not be bullied. There are people that want to get in your ear, they want to lobby you, they want to browbeat you and bully you. And I'm not for bullying, absolutely not. So I think you can trust me. I know you can trust me. Hey, listen, if you want to have a hard conversation, then don't go behind my back. Don't go, do what so many people do. They send you really nasty, shitty little emails. Come and talk to me. Have those hard conversations with me. I can take it. And I suspect if anybody wants to say anything about an issue that's really important, then you should be able to come front up and, have this one-on-one conversation. So, yep, I'm standing again. I'd love to get back. I mean, these are difficult times. Who would have thought we would have COVID? It's impacted our city significantly, and so you need experience to actually make sure that the voice of Te Arawa is heard, not only heard, but that we are having an impact on council. I'm Meripeka Raukawa Tate. I'm standing again as a Rotorua Lakes Councillor. Kia ora, thank you.
Kia ora koutou katoa. My name is Trevor Horowaiwai Maxwell of Ngāti Rangiwewahi Te Arawa. Currently I'm Aotearoa, New Zealand's longest serving councillor, first elected to the Rotorua City Council in 1977, 11 years as Deputy Mayor. I am seeking one of the 3 seats on the new Maori ward I voted for last year. Some major issues I believe that will require my experience and support are the strengthening of the Te Arawa partnership, something we worked hard for, very hard for, since 2015. The 3 waters reform, drinking water, stormwater, wastewater, very, very important. And also the Rotorua Township Fenton Agreement, signed in 1880 in Ohenemutu. Great generosity from 47 Te Arawa rangatira, mainly Ngāti Whakaue, my tribe, Ngāti Rangiwewahi, and Ngāti Uenuku Kōpako. Currently, the local bill is going through parliamentary processes. More hard work is required on this. Let's make history e te whānau. For our community, I have and will still continue working and supporting lakeside concerts. We're going to celebrate 25 years of our beautiful lakesides next year. NZCT, Toi Māori Arts, Te Matatini and Te Arawa Kapahaka. I will be up there in Tamaki Makaurau supporting the 6 groups from Te Arawa who qualify. That'll be February 2023. Me tiaki tātou i ngā kaumātua, tai atu rā ki a tātou moko puna te whanake mai nei. And regarding the Te Arawa 2050 partnership, I was there at the launch of this and I tautoko everything that's associated with our Te Arawa 2050. Some questions I've been asked recently I'd like to address with you. I've been asked, what do you want your mokopuna and your mokopuna Māori? I would love them to love their place, love Rotorua, the land, their tribes, proud of who they are, and potentially to be the best they could be. Some other questions I've been asked was, what would I bring to council? Well, up to now what I believe I've brought is trust and loyalty. An ounce of loyalty is more than a ton of cleverness. And I think Maori representation has become even more and more important. Whānau is so important. And for a councillor, be respectful and also be a good listener. Mā te atua koutou e manaki, kia ora no tātou katoa.
Tēnā no tātou e te hunga whakarongo i tēnei wā. Ko ai tēnei kei mua i a koutou ko Mercier Yates. Tōku ingoa, no te aroa whānui, o tira no teitanga maha ki rongo whakāta Ngāti Maniapoto Ngāti Tūwharetua. So my name is Mercier Yates. I'm a candidate standing for the General Ward here in Rotorua. I'm also a member of our te aroa iwi. Heoi anō, my whakapapa goes back 24 generations. May I also add though that I'm Irish, Jewish and Scottish. So a real melting pot, and actually the plot could thicken even further if I was also to talk about my upbringing here in Rotorua. Heoi anō. I'm standing for the General Ward, which I actually want to cover off first. It's important that we have voices for all standing in the General Ward. Whilst I am Māori and I am on the Māori roll, I've also been advocated for and nominated to stand in the General Ward. So with this voice and this voice for all, I certainly hope that I will be able to provide a voice of the future, a voice of reason, a voice of honesty and authenticity. Heoi anō, ka u ki te kaupapa o wene o ngā pātai kei mua i ahau. So I've got a couple of pātai here that I'm going to first address, and that is how will the Te Arawa 2050 vision align with Rotorua Lakes Council's vision of 2030? Well, for me it's quite simple. First and foremost, we have to honour it. And we honour it by honouring our Rotorua Township Agreement. This particular agreement, of which I am a uri of, or a descendant of, one of the iwi that signed it. Actually, I'm a descendant of all three iwi, Ngāti Uenuku Kōpako, Ngāti Rangiwewahi and Ngāti Whakauē. The Rotorua Township Agreement was founded on the premise that the Rotorua Township itself would be established for the betterment of all. This was a negotiated peace between Ngāti Whakauē, Ngāti Uenuku Kōpako and Ngāti Rangiwewahi, so that we, as mana whenua, could allow our manuhiri who are coming into Rotorua to benefit from the greatness that we have. I believe there's a wharenui right behind me, Hurunga Te Rangi, and we as Māori are especially great at being providers or giving manaaki to our fellow visitors, and we have many whānau here now who are now into being second, third, if not fifth generation Rotorua whānau. So with that we move forward together, we move forward as one. The final kaupapa that I'd like to talk about is Māori business here in Rotorua. Pākehī Ora is one of those, of our entities that are now bringing together many of our Māori businesses here in Rotorua. I believe Māori business is the way forward for us to look at if we're looking at what does innovation look like. When Māori provide entities, they provide entities for the betterment of all once again. Māori businesses here in Rotorua have been well established over the many years, especially when we look back to tourism and what tourism has done for our economy. We look forward now post-COVID, or actually during COVID, because COVID is going to be around us for a very long time. I look forward to seeing more Māori businesses and more Māori innovation coming into this space. So with that, ka nui te mihi kia koutou, ngā Pakehi Māori, kei mua I te aroaro. Also look forward to seeing new fresh buds come about. And I have a saying that goes along the lines of mā te kite, mā te hanga, ka puawai a pōpō. With vision, with strategy, tomorrow will blossom. So with that, ka oti taku kaufau I tēnei o ngā ata, o tēnei o ngā rā, ka nui te mihi kia koutou, e kaha nei ki te whakarongo mai ki au, and if possible, vote Yates. Kia ora.